Today I'll finish block 3. Next time, block 4. Namaskar. Good morning. Welcome to the fifth session of MMPC12 Strategic Management. I am Dr. Siran Mukerji, Additional Director in IGNOU Regional Center, Noida. We are in the fifth week, as I said, and let's see what we're going to discuss today. I have been sharing this course structure with all of you every week during the sessions. And as you must have noted, Block 1, Introduction to Strategic Management, we already completed. Block 2, Environmental Analysis, that is external, competitive, and internal organizational environmental analysis. That was part of the Block 2. Today, we are going to discuss Block 3, that is formulation of strategy. And in Block 3, we will discuss the business level strategy, we will discuss the competitive strategy, and we will discuss the corporate level strategy. So let's begin. This is the block 3, formulation of strategy. It has got 3 units. So, this whole course, MMPC012 Strategic Management, has got 4 blocks, and it has got 13 units in all. So we have so far completed 6 units. Today we'll complete 7th, 8th and 9th. And then the last session, the next week, hopefully next Thursday, we will discuss the 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th unit of block 4. So let's move on. As I said, 3 units. Unit 7 deals with business level strategy. Unit 8, excuse me. Unit 8 relates to competitive strategy, and Unit 9 deals with corporate level strategy. So at the end of the Unit 7, once we have completed discussing the business level strategies, and once you are through with the reading, the studying of the course material for Unit 7 for business level strategies, you would be able to understand the concept of cost and its role in business growth, concept of cost leadership strategy, concept of differentiation, and concept of focus. So this concept of cost and its role in business growth, or concept of leadership strategy, differentiation, focus, let me tell you, this will be all in the perspective of strategic formulation. It will all be in the perspective of, talking of costing as such here. We are talking of the effect of the right kind of cost or right kind of product cost for the organization in business level strategies or in formulation of strategies. So business level strategies, we've already discussed, but I'll quickly again go through there. What are business level strategies? Well, they are certain actions, certain moves, this course of action, which is taken by the organization. For what purpose? There has to be some purpose. Obviously, to add value to the products and services which are being provided to the customers. And why do we do that? Why every organization has the objective of continuous improvement, continuous quality improvement, continuous improvement of its services and products? It's basically for developing competitive advantage. So the better services we provide, the better quality products we provide, the better products which generally look into the requirements of the customers. So the better kind of products we provide, which match the requirements of the customers, which match the various segments of the customers, the better competitive advantage we will have as compared to our other competitors in the industry. And the competitive advantage in the organization is can be attained by using the core competencies. Now, every organization has certain set of core competencies, and these core competencies are basically immobile. They are with respect to individual organization. Every organization, that is we call as the USP. So every organization has a USP, and because of that set of core competencies, or because of the USP that it possesses, it tries to differentiate itself, it tries to differentiate its products and services from that of the competitors, or from that of the other organizations in the industry. So competitive advantage, the organization will have competitive advantage, will able to maintain competitive advantage over, or let's say it will able to maintain leadership over other organizations in the industry if it possesses certain unique and immobile set of core competencies. And also, when we're talking of business level strategies, so what we're talking of, we are talking of the specialized strategies. So specialized strategies in terms of each business unit. Now suppose there is a conglomerate, or suppose there is a very big organization which has got which is manufacturing, or which is into providing multiple kinds of services, multiple kinds of products to the people. So the strategy for each product, the strategy for each kind of service is going to be unique, is going to be different. So strategic business unit is basically uh, the strategies, which the specialized strategies which each business in the organization is going to have for its operations, for achieving its objectives, and for maintaining competitive edge, competitive advantage over others. Now, the strategies for each business unit in the organization, they are meant, they have three objectives. One is customer need satisfaction. Obviously, when we are talking of specialized strategies, when we are talking of customized strategies, then and when we are talking of strategies which are specifically for a particular product in the organization, then we are basically based on the customer. So we are customer based. So what is our focus? Our focus is on enhancing the satisfaction level of our customers. And the more we are able to do that, the more we are able to achieve the level of customer satisfaction, the more we have set of customers, satisfied customers, the better would it be, and the better competitive advantage we will have as compared to our competitors. The second objective is achievement of an edge over competitors. As I have already told you, that in the more specialized strategies we have, more tailor-made strategies we have for each business unit, it will give us an edge. It will help us in having an edge over our competitors, and it will also help us to not to lose the competitive advantage over our other competitors. So this is what is basically the meaning of business level strategy, or this is basically the concept of business level strategy, which is unique for every product in a multi-product, multi-service providing organization. Now, we go back to Michael Porter's competitive strategies. Now, Michael Porter, if you would remember, we in the previous session, we had discussed the five forces network, which has been given by Michael Porter for competitive advantage. Now, today we are going to discuss, moving ahead, we are going to discuss Porter's three generic competitive strategies, which helps the organization in the long term. And when we are talking of long term, that means obviously we are talking of achievement of objectives of the organization towards the vision and mission of the organization. And these three generic competitive strategies, as suggested by Michael Porter, they also help the organization to outperform its competitors. That is, they help the organization to be winner amongst all the other competitors providing similar kinds of products in the same industry. So I'll give you the example. What are these three generic? I'll give you the example later on, but let us first discuss what are these three generic competitive strategies which have been given by Michael Porter. The first one is cost leadership strategy. The second one is differentiation strategy, and third is the focus strategy. Now, cost leadership strategy. What is cost leadership strategy? Cost leadership strategy, according to Porter, is the competitive strategy wherein the organization tries to capture the market, tries to increase its market share by lowering the cost. That is, it is leader in terms of cost. So it provides the products and services at a very lowered cost. And where is this applicable? Where the customers are price sensitive. That is, in a price sensitive market, where the price sensitive market, where the the customers, they will buy, or they will utilize a product, or they will buy any particular service strictly based on the price of the product. So the lower the cost of providing the services, lower the cost of providing the products, the better will be the position of the organization. It will be able to increase the market share in this way. So the example is like, I have given you in the bracket, no frill. Now, what does it mean? Obviously, I think the listeners here, our students, they will be able to understand when I'm talking of no frill. So I'm talking of the airline industry. So I will not name any particular industry, national or international airline company, but there are an n number of companies, airline companies, which provide the services to its customers, to its flyers, by like saying, by providing, let's say, the tickets or flying facilities at a very low cost. So they dominate the market because of the least price that they are providing to the customers for flying from one place to the other. And in this pursuit, what they do, they don't provide any facilities. So anything, so that's why it's called no frill airlines. There would be, on contrary, there would be, let's say, one airline which would be whose charges, air ticket charges, would be quite high, but at the same time it would be providing a lot of facilities. Let's say full meal flights. There are flights which, they provide you meals during the flying time, and there are also certain flights wherein for anything you need to pay for any additional service apart from the ticket that you have paid. So that makes the difference. So, but then there are customers for both the kind of services. There are customers who would just like to fly. They just bothered about transportation from one place to other place. So they don't want any kind of additional services. They don't want any, let's say, food. They don't want any let's say, beverages. They don't want any additional facilities. So for them, basically, the company would provide no frill services, and the company will thrive, will succeed by cost leadership. So this is the cost leadership strategy. The next one is differentiation strategy. Now, what is differentiation strategy? Differentiation strategy is to, to provide services and to provide goods and services which is different from other companies in the industry. So what does it mean? Basically, to give such kind of products, such kind of services to the customers which are unique as per the customer requirement. So here we have industries which are producing unique quality products for relatively price insensitive market customers. Now, here in this case, the customers, they are ready to pay. Contrary to the cost leadership strategy, where it was a price sensitive market. So the moment the company increases the price of the product, immediately the customer would like to look at other alternatives, because the customer is not prepared to pay. They don't want to pay. They want the products, they want the services at the lowest cost. However, in case of differentiation strategy, how is the company trying to differentiate its products? How is the company trying to differentiate its services? By providing additional benefits, by providing unique kind of products, unique, which are like, specifically manufactured, or they're specifically designed for the customer. So when we are trying to provide tailor-made services, when we are trying to provide customer specific goods, then in that case obviously it will not be possible for us to provide the same in at a very lower cost. So what happens is, this is the example of, like I told you, airlines with luxury services. So in this case, there are customers who would not only fly, they don't only consider the airlines as a transportation, as a mode for transport. They basically, they consider it as a journey. So for them, destination is important, but then for them equally important is the journey. They want to enjoy during the journey, and that for that they look for luxury services. So the company will provide additional services. Let's say, pick and drop. They provide, their own company has got a fleet of its own cars. It provides meal, and not only in the meal, they provide choice of meals for the customers. Then in the flight, also during the flight, they will additional meals, they will give you snacks, they will let's say for the children, they will give them some games, toys to play, they will give them chocolates to eat. So they will give them special beverages. Again, they'll have a whole range of beverages to choose from. So this is what, when you're providing so much of services, obviously it would be at the cost of higher prices. So that is the differentiation strategy. And then we have the focus strategy. This is offering specialized products in the niche market. Like, for example, I gave you, again, I'm coming back to the airline industry, small airlines with limited route, and that would be specialized for niche market. Let's say we have airlines company which is catering to the tourists traveling at a particular in a particular circuit. Something like, you can have chartered flights, or you can have, let's say, there are tourists, who are going for a particular safari. Now they're going for a wildlife safari, and in the wildlife safari you have these small flight planes, let's say 12 seater, you have 20 seater, you have 25 seater planes, which are used for transporting, which are used for let's say for traveling purpose, for these tourists to move from one game park to the other game park. So this is like what we are talking of, specialized product in niche market. They're not for the general customers, they are for a specific group of customers. So when we are trying to do any kind of differentiation, when we are trying to provide any kind of specialized service, specialized products, I hope you would agree, then the company also needs to have its own specialized skill and expertise in the business unit, so that it can, there'll be continuous, there's a requirement for continuous research and development, continuous R&D, to find out, continuous market research to find out what the customer wants, and accordingly modify the strategies, and accordingly provide the services. So, but then how can you do it? Only when your own people, when your organization, it has the core competencies to manage this continuous change, continuous transformation in the organization. Now, see this particular chart, which depicts the Porter's three generic strategies and the source of competitive advantage. You will see here, when there is a cost focus, so then the scope is very narrow. There's not much of this would be, obviously we're talking of the cost leadership. So when we are focusing on the cost of the product, product or the services which are being provided, so then the scope of such products is very narrow. And for competitive advantage is also, the company will have lesser competitive advantage. Second is when there is cost leadership. So the company is providing the products at a very, very low cost. which other companies might not be able to provide. So that is winning the market, increasing the market share by reducing the cost of the products. So then obviously the scope becomes very broad. And obviously the company will have better competitive edge over the other organizations. Then differentiation. Now, when there is differentiation focus, then in that case the scope is narrow. Whereas when the products are based on complete differentiation based on the customer requirements, then the scope again increases, and the companies have better competitive advantage over other companies. Now we move to the next unit, that is unit 8, which talks of competitive strategies. Now, what do we learn at the end of this unit? At the end of this unit, you'll be able to understand the process of formulating a competitive strategy. Now, we have spoken of strategy formulation, but then here we are basically talking of formulating competitive strategy, concept of competitive analysis. And now, we had discussed analysis, internal analysis, internal organizational analysis. Then we had discussed the external analysis, where we had discussed pestle framework. Here we are, and for internal analysis, we had discussed uh, the competition, we had discussed about the threats, we had discussed about the opportunities. So now we are going to discuss about the competitor analysis. That is, apart from trying to do the internal analysis, apart from doing the external environmental analysis, we also need to do the analysis of our competitors, so as to know where do they stand, what they are doing for achieving competitive advantage, and vis-a-vis what we need to do. So in this unit, in this 8th unit, we'll discuss concept of competitive analysis. We will discuss the various dimensions of competitive strategy, and we will discuss the competitive strategies in different industries. Let's move on. Now, formulation of competitive strategy. Now, every organization has, obviously, for succeeding, every organization has competitive strategy. Without adequate study, without adequate analysis, without having a set of competitive strategies, the organization cannot succeed. Now, there are two kinds of competitive strategies that an organization can adopt. One is the implicit, and the second one is explicit. Now, as the name shows, what is implicit competitive strategy? Implicit competitive strategy are those strategies which are developed through activities of different functional units. So these are based on the activities of the different functional. When I'm talking of different functional units, then I'll just move a little ahead. See, we are talking of each of these spokes of the wheel. So we are talking, when I'm talking of functional units, so we're talking of marketing, we're talking of sales, we're talking of customer behavior, we're talking of distribution, we're talking of manufacturing, the operations, the finance and accounts, we're talking of R&D, purchase. So kinds of products, we are talking of the human resources. So all this, all these different functional units, the implicit competitive strategy is when it is functional unit specific. So every functional unit, let's say the marketing, the department of the organization, the sales department of the organization, the finance department of the organization, the human resource management department of the HR, department of the organization. Each one of them will have its own strategy. Each one of them will have its own competitive strategy, and it would be have each one of them would have activities, set of activities which contribute towards the competitive strategy of the organization. So we have, the set of objectives. Now, every functional unit every functional, let's say the department in the organization, will try to devise its set of plan of action, the tactical strategies, the operational strategies, which are basically activities, and all this would be focused towards what? It will be focused towards developing the competitive strategy of the organization so as to achieve the objectives of the organization. Now, the second kind of competitive strategy is the explicit competitive strategy. Now, what are explicit competitive strategies? Explicit competitive strategies are developed through planning process based on the external environment. So these are not only the strategies or the activities of individual functional units. These are also the activities or the planning which is done based on the external environmental analysis. So that is explicit. So what we are trying to do is, in the organization, we would first of all try to do the try to develop the activities, try to perform the various activities, develop the activities in different individual functional units, which together help the organization to achieve the organizational objectives. And then we also, just do you think just developing strategies for individual functional units is enough? No, we have to also, in order to succeed, we also need to develop the strategies based on the external environmental factors. So what would be the best method? What would be the ideal method? Ideal method would obviously be a combination, a judicious mix of implicit and explicit competitive strategy towards achievement of the objective, towards achievement of the organizational objectives. So as I said, just trying to develop activities or trying to develop strategies in the individual functional unit in the organization will not suffice. At the same time, just trying to do external environmental analysis and trying to develop the plan, again, that would not be sufficient. That would not be enough. What is basically required is both, a combination of both. So we develop the strategies in the units based on the external environmental analysis. So ideal is the blend of implicit and explicit competitive strategies towards achievement of organizational objectives. Now, we should also see that the competitive strategy finally should look towards what? The competitive strategy should look towards the goals of the organization. So the competitive strategy should help us in defining the goals of the organization, and it should help us in detailing out the policies or plan of action to achieve these goals. So number one, as a result of formulation of competitive strategies, we are able to enlist the goals of our organization, and we are also able to develop the plan of action to achieve these goals. If, as a result of the strategic formulation process, at the end of the strategic formulation process, if we see that we have the list of goals, which again point towards the achievement of organizational long-term objectives, that means the organization is moving in the right direction. And we should also see that at the end of competitive strategic formulations, we should have a detailed plan of action or policies, functional unit-wise policies, as well as these policies together forming the organizational policies which help the organization to achieve its goals. Now, we will discuss the wheel of competitive strategy. I had given you a glimpse of this particular wheel. Now, let us discuss this in detail. Well, it is basically it is for what is the use of this particular wheel, and why do wheel for competitive strategic formulation? Well, it is used for basically communicating or articulating the key aspects of firm's competitive strategy on a single page. So, like you see here, the goals, the hub of the wheel or the center point, it defines the goals of the organization. So the detailed goals will be enlisted in the hub of the wheel, and then the spokes, like you see one spoke product line, second spoke target market, third spoke marketing, fourth spoke sales, and so on so forth. Now the spokes of the wheel depict the functional areas through which the goals of the organizations can be achieved. So as I told you here, each of these spokes represent functional areas, and each functional area then will have its own set of strategies. He will have its own set of strategic uh, ideas, plan of action, and that together will help to achieve the goals of the organization. Now, each spoke here depicts key operating policies for the specific operational area, and together they help in achieving the goals of the organization. Like I give you example here: objectives for profitability, growth, market share, social responsiveness, etc. So these goals, keeping these goals in mind, each of these functional units, each of these spokes will have its own set of plan of action, have its own policies, and they will together contribute towards developing competitive strategy. They will together help in having a competitive advantage over other organizations. Now, factors determining the formulation of competitive strategies. What are these factors? Well, there are two kinds of factors. We have the internal factors, which are the factors which are internal to the company, and then we have the extraneous or the external factors. Now, what are the internal factors for determining the formulation of competitive strategies? That is the internal factors which affect the formulation of strategies in the organization. These are the company strengths and weaknesses. The company strengths and weaknesses, the strengths and weaknesses of the company, they have major implication on the formulation of competitive strategy in the organization. Secondly, the second set of internal factors are the personal values of the key implementers. The personal values of the organization, the core values of the organization. Core competencies would obviously be part of the strengths, whereas the core values, the mission, the vision of the organization, that will form a part of the internal factors which determine the formulation, which affect the formulation of competitive strategy. The second set of factors are the external factors. Now, what are these external factors? Obviously, as a part of, we had done the SWOT analysis. So external factors would be the industry opportunities and threats. That is economic and technical opportunities and threats existing in the industry as a whole. So the kind of opportunities the industry offers to the organization, the kind of threats that the organization perceives from its customers in the from its competitors in the external environment, that affects the formulation of competitive strategy. And the second external factor is the societal expectations. What is the expectation of the customer? So our competitive strategy obviously would be customer centric. What exactly our customer is looking at, what exactly our customer wants, what kind of products our customer wants, what kind of services our customer wants. So our services, our products, our competitive strategy for manufacturing these products or providing these, designing and developing these services would be societal, would be based on the societal expectations, would be based on the customer satisfaction, based on the customer requirements, because we exist because of them. So if we are not able to satisfy their requirements, we will not be able to grow, we will not have competitive advantage, and we will, in the long run, we will perish. So framework for competitor analysis. Now competitor, and as I told you, this is the next important part in this particular unit, in the eighth unit, that is an analysis of the competitors. As I told you in the very beginning, it is just not enough for any organization to do internal analysis and the external analysis, external environmental analysis. In order for the organization to succeed, it has to do competitor analysis also, the analysis of its competitors in the industry. So competitive analysis, the results of the competitive analysis uh, really help, they really help the organization to develop or to formulate successful competitive strategies. And the analysis, competitor analysis, would be analysis of both the present and the potential competitors. It's just not the competitors or the other companies which are existing in the industry now. The successful that organization would be successful, which also tries to identify which are the other companies which are presently not in the industry, but which have the let's say the competencies, which have the maybe intention of, or let's say the resources, and it might enter the industry. So we have to be prepared for both. Now, what are the components of competitor analysis? The components of competitor analysis, there are four components: the future goals of the competitor, that is current financial position and the strategic moves, that would together define the future goals of the organization for the competing organizations. Then the current strategy, what is the current strategy of our competitors? So the internal, and that would obviously be both functional strategies, that is internal business unit strategies, and also the strategies, the external strategies. So we should have the know-how, we should have the knowledge of what kind of strategies our competitors have. Then the assumptions. We also need to assume the self assumption of the competitor. That is, what does the competitor thinks about itself? That is very important for the competitor to know. As an organization, we should know what our competitors think about themselves. And secondly, the competitor's assumption of other organizations and industry, that is what the competitor thinks of itself, and also what the competitor thinks of other organizations existing in the industry. So that would give us a holistic, information, holistic detail about the insight of the competitor. Then the fourth component of competitor analysis are its capabilities. The capabilities, obviously, in terms of अंकुल भाई करें स्टार्ट। हेलो। ठीक है, ठीक। 10 सेकंड में कर रहे। Sorry for the interruption. We had a small technical glitch. So I'm back again with you with this MMPC 012 fifth session. And we were discussing the framework for comparator analysis. And in the framework, we were discussing the components of comparator analysis, wherein there we saw that there are four components: the future goals, the current strategy, assumptions, and capabilities of the competitor, which we need to analyze for having a better understanding of the customer, for having a better understanding of the competitor, and for accordingly formulating our own organizational strategies. Now, what could be the competitive moves that an organization can undertake? There can be two types of competitive moves. One is cooperative or a non-threatening or a defensive mode, wherein what does, as the name shows, cooperative, non-threatening, wherein our strategic moves, the moves of the organization do not threaten the existence of the other customers. That is, we are trying to develop ourselves, we are trying to develop products and services which would obviously help us to grow, help the organization to grow, but at the same time it will not allow others to perish. So it will be kind of mutual coexistence. The other companies are also there, we are also there, and we call this competitive move as the cooperative or a non-threatening. And on the contrary, there is the threatening or offensive moves of the organization, which, they try to develop, they try to supply such kind of products in the market, they try to have such kind of services for the customers that all other organizations are unable to match that kind of product, that kind of service, and they lose. They lose, and finally they perish. So these are the two kinds of competitive moves that an organization can adopt for for its strategic competitive formulation. Now, what are the competitive strategies for declining industry? That is the industries which are facing losses, or the declining, as the name shows, declining industries which are not having a growth. They not even stagnant. They see that their market share is falling. So, what are these competitive strategies, and why? What are the reasons? Reasons are low economic growth, the rapid cost inflation, and rapid technological advancement. These are the three major reasons for the industry to decline. Now, if the organization is in a declining industry, what should be its competitive strategies? Because then the whole set of strategies, the whole set of strategizing would be entirely different. The whole approach would be entirely different. So, what are these approaches to developing competitive strategy in decline stage of the industry? Obviously, leadership strategy, that is leaders in terms of market share. Now, what you try to do is, let's say you, with the help of, like we had done, the cost advantage, through cost, we the company, let's say cost leadership strategy. So through cost leadership strategy, the company tries to get have a leadership on on the on the other companies. So I just let me just go back to this slide here. So leadership strategy with the help of, let's say, by costing, by reducing the cost of the products, by providing very cheap, good quality, but at a very economical rate, products and services, thus occupying the market, capturing the market. So by becoming leaders, that is all their strategies would be towards towards achieving higher market share. Second approach could be the niche strategy, wherein what they try to do is they defend or create strong position in a specific segment. So what they don't try to create, they don't try to look for products, they don't try to manufacture products, they don't try to provide services for customers of different segments, of different strata. No, what they try to do is they try to develop a niche strategy for a niche market. So that is another thing. The third strategy is the harvest strategy, that is take advantage of the strengths and manage controlled disinvestment. And the fourth is quick divestment strategy, wherein they liquidate the investment. Now we move to the ninth unit, which is corporate level strategies. So the earlier unit was we discussed the comparative strategies. Now we are discussing the corporate level strategies. Now, as the name shows, corporate level strategies means what? Corporate level strategies are the strategies of the big organizations, wherein you have the organization which has a number of strategic business units. It has specialized business units, and how the strategies would be developed for not individual strategic business unit, but combined together, how the strategies would be developed at the corporate level. So at the end of this unit, what would you understand by studying this unit? You would understand the concept of corporate strategy. You would know the various corporate generic corporate strategies. We will discuss diversification, we will discuss retrenchment, and we'll also discuss turnaround strategy. Now let's quickly go to corporate strategy. There is a hierarchy of corporate. See, we're talking of the top level. So the organization, let's say the corporate body has got, let's say, 5 business units, or let's say it is involved in multiple sectors, multiple industries. So obviously the strategy for the products for each industry would be different, and that would all be formulated at the corporate level. So it would involve Corporate strategy would involve functional level strategy, it would involve business level strategy, and also it would involve the organization level corporate strategy, which provides, what would it be? It would be the plan of action for achieving the corporate level objectives, and these corporate level objectives would then be part of the goals would be part of this corporate level objectives. So individual functional level strategies would be the strategies for individual functional units. Together, they'll form this comparative strategy for the business level, and then at the top level will be the organizational or the corporate level strategies, which will provide the overall direction of the for the company. Now, corporate strategy, what it is basically, as I said, it provides the overall direction to the company. That means it is the blueprint for the growth of the organization. It provides the overall direction, and with the help of corporate strategy, the company, the corporate level, the corporate level management, what they try to do, they try to identify the kind of business they're going to do, the kind of market they're going to foray into, the kind of products and services they are going to provide. So once that is decided, that is at the top level, top management level. Once that is decided, then based on the blueprint, based on this top level design, then these are further divided, these are further compartmentalized based on the different business units. They are compartmentalized based on the different products that the corporate body has decided to manufacture. Now, again, corporate strategy is basically an action taken for competitive advantage through selection and management of mix of business competing in several. As I said, corporate strategy would be the strategy of the organization based on the various industry wherein they have their business units. So let's say the corporate strategy of an organization, it is into, let's say, oil and refinery, oil and natural resources, so that would be one different industry. Then let's say it also has its IT industry, IT company, so that will be IT industry. Then let's say it also has its own hotel industry, hotel group of hotels, so that would be the hotel or hospitality industry. So see, here we are talking of different industries. So here we are talking of formulating strategies specific for the business unit existing in a particular industry. So in a way, corporate strategy tries to develop a mix of business strategies competing in different industries simultaneously. What are the components? The components are growth or different kinds of different components of corporate strategy, growth or directional strategy, then there's portfolio strategy, and then there's corporate parenting strategy. Now, let's see the types of corporate strategies. There are four kinds of corporate strategies. The stability strategies, the strategies which provide stability to the corporate body, let's say to the organization. Then there are growth strategies. Then there are retrenchment strategies. When there's there's trouble in the organization, then there are retrenchment strategies. And then also there could be a combination of two or three of these strategies depending on the need of the organization, depending on the performance of the organization, depending on its competitive level in the environment, in the industry. Now, as I said, growth strategies. So growth strategy or expansion or let's say stability strategy could be expansion through integration. Now, what is integration? It involves basically expanding externally by combining with other organizations, and you have where what happens is, in this case, either there is a forward integration or there is a backward integration. So in either of this case, what does the organization do? It tries to depending on its requirements, it tries to expand, it tries to grow externally by combining with other organizations which could be either providing raw material to this particular organization, or it could be the organizations which are handling the organization's services and products. So let's say we have a company A, and it has got there are three companies A, B, and C. So let's say B is the company, and to B, A is providing raw material, and once the product or goods are manufactured, the C is handling its distribution. So what the distribution network. So it could be possible that B decides that no, we need to expand. So B decides to get involved with A, that is in the supply of raw material to its units, and it also decides that no, maybe let's say the C, the distributor network, they're not able to manage the product distribution in the right way. So what they try to do, the C the main company, the B company, will try to take over C, that is manage its own distributorship. So it is basically association and integration amongst different organizations based on the kind of products and services these organizations are manufacturing and providing. So why do we need to do it? They are basically for survival, obviously. So and also for need for growth by building synergies. If there is a synergy, if we see that we can synchronize our efforts with the efforts of the other organizations which are related with us, if we see that the as a result of integrating, as a result of the other association with other organizations, if we see that we are able to survive better, we are able to reduce the cost of operation, then we would obviously go for integration process. It can be through merger, that is combination of one or more organizations into one, and it could also be consolidation, that is combination of two or more business units to form an entirely new organization. Now, as I said, types of integration, how many kinds of integration do we have? We have vertical integration and we also have horizontal integration. Now, vertical integration could be backward or forward. Now, what is backward integration? When, as I said, the organization tries to take control of its inputs. That is, organization tries to associate and expand backwards and associate with the companies which are providing the raw material inputs. And forward integration is when I gave you the example, when the organization thinks that its distribution network, the distributor company is not able to manage its products in the right way. So, and also maybe the expenditure is too much, then they say that why don't we manage it ourselves? So it's like the organization takes control of the outputs. Then we have also horizontal integration. What is horizontal? Acquisition of additional businesses in the same use. In the industry, you see that there are other companies, other businesses which are providing same products or similar products. So you think that, and maybe they have they have their factories or their manufacturing units in a very strategic position. So, and maybe they are not able to manage well. So you say that why don't we take over those companies? So that will strengthen our business, it will strengthen our product line, and at the same time we will be able to manage larger areas, we'll be able to have better products. So horizontal integration is basically acquisition of additional business in the same line in the industry. And horizontal growth or expansion could be either by let's say internal expansion. That is, a company has a unit and it says that let's have two more other units in two different other places, geographically dispersed units. Or it could also be external expansion, wherein what it's trying to do is it's trying to merge or acquire other businesses in the industry. Now, horizontal growth can also be diversifying to it's not necessarily that we take over the companies which are manufacturing similar products. It is also possible that we try to take over companies the corporate strategy, they decide, the top level management, they decide that our products, we should try to go into new areas, foray into new areas. So that is horizontal growth. Okay, well, we Okay, this was basically types of integration. Wherein we discussed the vertical integration, we discussed the horizontal integration, and in vertical integration, we discussed the backward integration and also the forward integration. Backward integration is when the organization tries to integrate, tries to get involved with or take control of the companies which are supplying the raw material, the inputs for the organization. And forward integration is when the organization tries to take control of the outputs. Now we look at diversification. Now, what is diversification? As I said, one of the corporate strategies is also in the horizontal growth. One of the corporate strategy is the horizontal growth, and which could be diversifying into unrelated areas, unrelated business. That is those areas wherein the company has not been operating. So let's say the company is into manufacturing scooters, two-wheeler industry, and it is manufacturing scooters. So it says that maybe due to the market research, it comes to know, due to the consumer behavior, it comes to know that as a result of customer research, they see that scooters are not in demand anymore. The customers prefer to buy motorcycles. So they say that if we continue manufacturing scooters, if we continue supplying scooters, they see that their market share is falling into two-wheeler industry. So they go for a major diversification. So from in the two-wheeler industry itself, they move from scooter manufacturing to motorcycle manufacturing. So that's a new business area. So that is diversification. That is expanding operations into different industries. That is also possible. So let's say the industry, although it is two-wheeler industry, like the example I gave you, but that industry was the scooter manufacturing industry, and this is the motorcycle manufacturing industry. Or another very different example could be there are companies which are manufacturing cycles, and they think that since we are manufacturing cycles, now there are many, since the people have more purchasing power, and they are not, the general population is not buying that much of cycle, the demand for cycle has gone down, and they see that there's more demand for motorcycle. The people, they prefer, because it is faster mode of transportation, easier mode of transportation, and much more, I mean, better mode of transportation. So what they try to do, the population wants motorcycles. So then the company will diversify from the cycle industry to a very, very different industry, a two-wheeler industry, that is the motorcycle industry. Or diversification could also be adding products to its existing line of business. So the business unit remains the same, only what it does is it tries to add more products to its line of business. Now, there are two types of diversification strategies. One is concentric or related diversification. That is, in the what it tries to do, it tries to foray, it tries to expand in the related industry, in the that is in the existing line of business only. It will try to diversify. Like for example, there is a food processing unit which manufactures, let's say, ketchup, pickle, etc. And what it does is, in order to create synergy, it moves into, let's say, manufacturing salad dressings, sandwich spreads. So that is concentric or related diversification. And then there's also called conglomerate or unrelated diversification, wherein the company forays into a business or into industry producing entirely new product. Well, students, well, friends, we will stop now. We will discuss the retrenchment strategies. In this third block, we are left with only one small topic, that is retrenchment strategies. We will discuss that next time, along with the block 4, which is titled as Strategic Implementation and Control. Thank you so much. Please study, please revise, please do the self assessment questions that will help you to prepare for the examinations better. All the best for your assignments also, and all the best for your studies. Thank you so much. Namaskar.